So I recently built this compact bass pedal board. I used a Pedal Train Nano Plus board and powered all of the pedals with the True Tone CS6 power supply. It has everything I need and I love it, but I also have all of these other beautiful and great sounding pedals that aren't getting used. Fortunately, a fantastic company called Vangoa reached out to me to ask if I'd be interested in checking out one of their powered pedal boards. I had a quick look over their products and I immediately said yes. So today, I'm going to be building a new pedal board using the Vangoa PDM medium-sized powered pedal board. I'll give you an overview of the pedal board's features and provide my review, together with some information on how I approach building the bass pedal board, including the order in which I place the pedals. I'll also include some sound samples of the finished setup at the end. So I've just opened up the board. It feels really premium quality. There's nothing cheap about this. There's no welds on it at all. It's just a single piece of aluminium. Quite light as well, considering it's got a built-in power supply. Probably roadworthy. In terms of what it can power then, you've got 6 9-volt power supplies at 300 milliamps. You've got 4 9-volt power supplies at 500 milliamps. You've got one 12-volt power supply at 500 milliamps and then an 18-volt power supply at 300 milliamps. So it can probably power a wide range of pedals. Very slimline, the power section. I mean, there's nothing to it. It's as thick as the actual board itself. You've got some legs that come out here. So that helps with just getting your pedals raised slightly on an angle. Easier to put them on and off. One of the cool things I've found, I didn't even realise it did this, so there's a strip of LEDs across here, and what it means is when you've, depending on how you wire it, you can either put your guitar signal coming in and then that'll basically show you an indication of your signal level. You could either wire it on the way in or on the way out of your board, depending on what level you want to track. But even if you don't use the in and out here, there's an inbuilt microphone, and you can adjust this little sort of potentiometer here to adjust the signal of the LEDs. So that's quite cool to give you a visual indication on stage that your signal's, you know, either hot or, you know, not enough. You can kind of track that. That's quite cool. Also included in the box is a power supply for the board itself with an interchangeable 2-pin European adapter and 3-pin UK plug. You also get all of the connectors for your pedals to put them into the power supplies on the board. It comes with 4 strips of pre-cut Velcro both sides, so you'd put each one of these on those bars along there, and then the other side would go onto your pedals. You get a user manual and then an instruction on how to use the LED signal strip. There's a few ways you can wire that. You also get a carry case, which is actually really good quality. So it's got a front zip pocket for like cables and stuff, handle on the top, it's got straps so you can wear it like a backpack, and then inside there's kind of like a mesh pocket to put more cables in, and then Velcro straps to keep everything held down securely. It's actually quite thick, the foam and the padding on that, so that's quite a nice addition to get that included. So the order in which I place the pedals usually depends on what I'm trying to achieve with the board and also what the pedals actually are. But as a rough guide, I'd usually go into some sort of preamp up front to make use of the EQ and any dry DI out. And then if there's an FX loop, and some have a pre and post FX loop like the Capo, I'd kind of look to put all my effects in that and come back to the preamp for a wet DI out at the end. So basically I'd plug straight into the preamp. Then I'd go into some sort of tuner, so I'd open the effects loop and the tuner would be the first thing in there. And then if there's any filter effects like envelope filter or auto wah, they'd go next. And then any pitch effects like octaver or harmonizer, for example. And then I'd be looking to put dynamics in there, so compressors, limiters, that type of pedal. And then I'd bring in any drive pedals. And the order in which I'd do drive pedals would be fuzz, into overdrive, into distortion, so in that order. Next up would be any modulation effects, such as chorus, flanger, or phaser. And then I'd go to any time-based effect pedals, for your delay, and then following your delay, reverb. Then I'd close the effects loop and, as I say, come back to the preamp and then make use of the wet DI out. So the Capo has a DI out that's dry, basically replicating the signal you plug in, and it's also got a wet DI out, so you can make use of sending both of those signals to the recording desk or the mixing desk front of house live, and then you've got the full control then of mixing the two signals together or just choosing which one you want. So here's a video of me actually building the pedal board from scratch. I went with the Capo pedal up front, so I'll plug my bass directly into there and it allows me to take a dry DI out signal. Then I open the effects loop, which is prior to the preamp, and then plug in the tuner, the envelope filter, the Taylor Shift octave, my fuzz pedal and the distortion pedal from Dark Glass. Then it goes back into the Capo to close that loop, and then you've got access to the EQ and any saturation on the Capo. And then I open up the post preamp effects loop. Then I take a signal into the time travel delay from Spur Audio, and then into the VAVE Mini Universe reverb pedal. Then I come back into the Capo to close that loop. And then from the output, I go into the Wiretap Riff recorder. So that allows me to record my entire signal chain, any of the pedals that I'm using. Just by clicking on that button, I can record the signal. So when I do a sound demo at the end of the video, I'll be using the recording from that pedal. Essentially, coming out of the Capo then, I can use a wet DI also, and also just take the output of that Wiretap straight to my amp. So I definitely recommend checking out this powered pedal board. Getting 12 isolated power supplies built in with a range of voltages, also getting your power cables, your Velcro and a carry case is great value for money, considering it's about £107 on Amazon at the moment. I think the competition, you'd spend a lot more. So I think my other power supply on my compact board is about £150 on its own. And then you've got to go through the hassle of trying to mount it underneath, and that involves drilling and a lot of messing around. To build this pedal board was really simple and straightforward. and all of the power cables just fit nicely underneath, and the routing of it was dead easy. There was loads of space on this medium sized one to fit loads of pedals. It feels like a really premium product. For £107 it's definitely worth checking out. Thanks to Vangoa for sending out the product. If you've got any questions, please drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.